And that hardness of heart is what eventually becomes a fortress that imprisons you. And that's what leads to people beginning to think, you know what, actually, I don't need you. I can do without you in my life. And that's when you find relationships breaking down. Hello, Authentic Nation. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Authentic Conversations with Jaimie and Sarah. Hello, my king. How are you doing?
I'm well, really well, thank you. How are you?
I'm awesome.
Excellent.
Yeah.
It's always great to spend time with you guys, and we're looking forward to having a session where we talk about everything faith, family, and finance. So, Sarah, what question do you have for us today?
I want us to talk about the small acts of kindness between couples, in a relationship, in marriage, that keep the marriage alive. It's the small things that we do for one another that are intentional, that are thoughtful, that are kind, that are loving. It's those things that keep the marriage on fire. So many times we think it's the big things. Oh, he bought me the latest bag. Oh, he bought me the latest car. Oh, he bought me a nice big house. Those things are wonderful and they have their place. But it's the small things that really, really matter. It's that little note. I love you. You open your laptop when you get to work and you see an I love you note. It's you going into the bathroom and I've left you a note. It's little things like that. Remembering the reason we came together and remembering you, the person that I love. Yeah.
It really is the small things. And I feel like sometimes what we do is we forget the things that brought us together, but we also forget the things that really get our partners, or wife or husband's heart aflutter. It's not always the big, massive things. One of my things was, do you remember those little egg tarts?
Oh, he loves an egg tart. And I'll go into Waitrose or wherever I can find them. If I see one, I have to buy one for him because it's an indulgence.
Yeah.
And it's something that you absolutely love. And so me and the kids as well, we all know it's something that he loves. And if I or any of the kids see an egg tart, they're sure to buy one. And it's just seeing the smile on your face light up. You're not expecting it.
Yeah.
It shows that we've been thinking about you when we were not together. Yeah.
And I mean, like you said, they don't cost much. They're a couple of quid, but you get them, and it's the fact that, like you say, I was on your mind, even though I wasn't physically present. And it makes a huge difference. And you'll be amazed at how something so simple transforms your whole day.
Absolutely.
So, like you said, I think with the small acts of kindness, with emphasis on the small, oftentimes they don't even cost anything. The other day we were in Johannesburg, and I was on my prayer walk. And I know Sarah loves flowers, and of course when we're here in the United Kingdom, sometimes I'll go to her favorite, flower shop, which is Flower Box in St. Albans, just a plug there.
Yes.
But this time around, I was just walking on our prayer walk, and I saw some flowers, and I went there and I picked one. It cost me nothing. I'm not sure if I was supposed to pick one, but I did. And so when I went into our hotel room, I gave that to her, and it was amazing to see how something so simple transformed how she felt. She literally just, it was phenomenal.
Me up. Being woken up with a flower. Crazy. I carried it. We were flying to Cape Town that day. I carried it in my handbag. By the time we got to Cape Town, it was wilted. I kept it for another 2 days because it meant something to me. It meant you were thinking about me even when I was not there, and you woke me up with that. And that was a beautiful act of kindness. It's things like you love walking into a clean house. And there are times when you've been away and you've been away at work. We all know, I know that that's the one thing that's going to get you just absolutely happy and in great space. It's so important to come home anyway, to a clean home, to a warm home, to a happy home. And that's one that I know is particularly special to you.
It's a big one. And actually what's happened now, after a few years of making an absolute fuss about how clean the home should be, what's happened now is, even with our kids, they know how to clean the home to a very, very high standard. The last few times I've come home, I can't fault anything that they've done. And of course, I'm not suggesting that you make a big, hullabaloo about how things are supposed to be done. But when I walk into a clean home, for me, that represents love. It represents love more than a gift. So even if if you or the children went out there and bought me a massive gift and said, we bought you this, but then I come into a dirty home and you're presenting it to me, I won't receive it in the same way. I'd rather have the home that's clean. And that's you ministering specifically to what's important to me. And again, when I see that, I see love everywhere. That's literally what I
So
see.
it's a love language.
It's a love language.
An
It
act of
definitely is.
kindness. And
It definitely is.
Absolutely. And you know, couples, so many times when we're going through the paces of life, it's so easy to forget one another. It's so easy to take each other for granted. It's so easy to take your beloved one, your significant other for granted and think, oh, you know, but it's that hot meal. It's that cup of coffee when I'm working and you walk in and you bring me a cup of coffee or a cup of tea. Everyone in the house knows I'm an Earl Grey tea girl. It's things like that. It's thoughtful. It's intentional. It means I'm in your mind. It means I matter. It's a whole language on its own. Sometimes I love you can become shallow words, but back up your love. Show me your works. You know, show me your faith by your works. You understand? Show me your love. Back it up with something. So those intentional things absolutely matter.
And of course, you know, maybe you're in a position in your relationship where you're thinking, you know what, I'm not particularly sure if I do this for my special one, whether they'll actually receive it. Because sometimes in relationships, you can really be bumping heads and you're trying to figure out how can I, you know, broach something like this? Will it be received well? Do you even want to do it? You know, that's the reality. But the reality, again, is the fact that, you know, we used this analogy before, that you almost want to think of your love as a cloud. And sometimes that little, you know, act of kindness is what causes a break in the cloud, which then releases the rain into every area of your relationship. It does away with a lot of the hardness that you may be feeling, you know, this feeling of being misunderstood. The fact that somebody will go out of their way to do something like that for you is maybe the little thing that you need to take you to the next level. And so we'd always encourage you to remember the things that
brought you together.
The things that brought you together, but also, you know, the stuff that is unique about the person that you're in a relationship with. Because I can guarantee you the things that they want or like are not necessarily the things that anybody else will like. And so the fact that you have gone out of your way, like you were saying earlier, to actually say, I'm going to do this for you, it makes a tremendous difference. You know, and it's not always, I love you, you know, with the physical words, like you said, because sometimes that can feel quite shallow. But it's thinking, you know what, I went out of my way to maybe drive to a shop in town where there's something, you know, specifically, it has to be a specific shop that thing you like is available in. And I went there specifically for you, and I came back and I brought that thing to you. It can make all the difference in the world.
You spoke about hardness. You know, the scripture talks about how divorce happens because of hardness of heart.
Yeah.
You know, so it's hardness on one or the other or both of us sometimes, where things have not been going so well in the marriage, and there is that hardness. And sometimes we become hard because it's a protective mechanism. I don't want you to hurt me anymore, so I'm not taking that. I'm not going to be, I'm not going to have any empathy towards you. I'm not going to have any kindness towards you. And that hardness of heart is what eventually becomes a fortress that imprisons you. And that's what leads to people beginning to think, you know what, actually, I don't need you. I can do without you in my life. And that's when you find relationships breaking down. So it's important, guys, to break that hardness and to break that ice with these small acts of kindness, with these small acts of love, with these thoughtful little things that we do for one another.
Something that just came to my mind as you were speaking, and you've touched on it quite a bit before, but you know, you always talk about how when we're in public, and you know, whether we're at work or you know, just in a public setting, we have a lot of grace for people that we meet. You know, if somebody was to step on your toe in public, you would just forgive them in a heartbeat. Oh, don't worry, it's not an issue. It doesn't matter, you know. But then when your person does it, my gosh, you'd be like, why did you do that? You were planning to do that. It's giving people grace, you know, and that's what. So you know, we're talking about small acts of kindness, and I think the operative word there is obviously small, but the other operative word is kindness. It's just learning how to be kind. It's just learning how to be gentle and gracious to one another, and forgiving quickly, and not always keeping short accounts. And by the way, you touched on that. You've just ignited something. But you know, keeping short accounts. I spoke to somebody, I remember, a few months ago, and I happened to mention to them that, you know, Sarah and I, we never have any issue that is unresolved that lasts over 2 weeks. As in, you know, if we're going to have a disagreement about something, the issue mustn't be older than 2 weeks.
Okay.
You know,
As in, like me bringing up something that happened 2 weeks ago.
it has to be at least,
because we don't go 2 weeks without talking.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen.
you know, but it's like when we started this journey, it would be, we could bring up stuff from years ago. We'd be like, this happened
Absolutely.
15, 20 years ago. This is what you did to me. So we agreed it would be short accounts. So
Short
it would have,
accounts,
it had to have happened in the last
Recently,
two
yeah.
weeks. And I remember saying this to somebody.
And also, we started dealing with issues then, so that we're not dealing with things that are 2
later,
weeks old.
so they don't fester.
Because it festers and it breeds resentment.
Yeah.
Yes.
And she said to me, I said to her, you know, so this is what Sarah and I do. And she said, that's rather naive. That's literally what she said to me. And I said, well, it might be naive to you, but it works. Because we're on a 30-year journey here. You know, a lot of times when you start talking to couples, they almost take a macabre delight in holding on to stuff. And you know, then working through each and every issue and everything that person, you know, their partner has done. The reality is, understand the importance of being kind. Understand the importance of forgiving and forgiving quickly and letting things go. Laughing at certain issues and not allowing everything to be a serious topic. Are you with me? Because this is something that always happens, even when we're talking about forgiveness. There are things that we laugh about today that at the time when they happened, they weren't funny. But we release them, and because we release them, they're funny. You know, we can laugh today. So be kind.
Absolutely.
You know, practice kindness, practice being forgiving, and practice going out there and finding things that you can do for your special one. And I keep saying special one because they're special. They're with you. And when they're with you, they can't be with somebody else. So make the time that they're with you amazing.
Absolutely.
That's what you have to do.
And remember, another act of kindness is words of affirmation. So important to affirm the person that you're with, to tell them how awesome they are. Tell him or her how beautiful she smells. It's things like that, oh my goodness, you look amazing in that color. Affirm one another. Listen, affirmation should start at home. If I'm affirmed at home and if you're affirmed at home, when you go out there, everyone else who compliments you is a bonus. You understand? But if I don't affirm you and I don't notice you and I don't see you, that's the worst place for anyone in marriage to be, where you feel like you're not seen. You feel like you're not heard. You feel like you're invisible. You get up, you dress up, you do your thing. You are bringing the best version of yourself, but the person who it actually you're doing it for doesn't notice it. It's the worst feeling in the world. And then you go out there and everyone else is complimenting you. That again is a crack. You understand?
Absolutely.
That again puts a crack in the marriage, and he or she begins to think, oh, Bob at work noticed me, you know, Bobby at work noticed me, and but I'm not noticed at home by my significant other. Words of affirmation, kind words, loving words are the best thing you can ever give to your significant other.
So true.
Yeah.
So do you want to give another practical example? I think we'll finish on this one. But do you remember, what is our deal around our bed? What do we do in the mornings?
We wake up, first thing we do when we wake up is do the bed. We do not have an undone bed. Listen, we live in the United Kingdom, guys. So for those of you who've got people who help you
running
with
around
these things,
after you,
God bless you. You understand? When we go to, you know, when we're in the house in Dubai, we have
that's
that.
different.
But when we're in the United Kingdom, we have to do everything for ourselves. So the first thing we do is we get out of bed, we do the bed there and then.
And the rule is the person who gets out of bed last has to make the bed.
Absolutely, yeah.
So a great act of kindness for Sarah is if she was the last person out of the bed, I make the bed for her.
That's that, and for me that's always actually a really big one, because the mattress is heavy and it's quite heavy on my wrist, so I struggle to tuck, because someone here went to boarding school, so he wants it tucked a certain way, and I struggle to lift the mattresses up and tuck. So whenever I come back and I find, I came in from the morning walk because we didn't manage to go together this morning, and you know, the room just looked absolutely amazing. You done the bed, and for me that just gets me smiling and happy. Yeah.
And that's the plan. That's what it's designed to do, because you know that the little thing that I'm going to do is going to make a tremendous difference in your life. It's sowing positive seed, and like we always say, you can't sow positive seed and get a negative harvest.
That's right.
So
that's right.
That's the logic.
So guys, actively cultivate acts of kindness. Be intentional to one another. Be kind, be loving to one another in your marriage.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Great spending
God
some
bless
time with
you.
you, and we'll see you soon.
See you soon. God bless you. Bye bye.
Bye.